Hi, it's Tess. Welcome back to my channel. So glad you could join me today. And today's video is going to be about my Weight Watchers journey and also my page setup. So if you saw my past video on the Weight Watchers planner, I'm using a Hobonichi Techo A5. That's right before me right here. And one of the things I thought about after I videotaped that was just about maybe I needed to get more in detail for you, and being able to share is how I go about the planning and what goes into pages, because it's always helpful to not just summarize but hopefully share my example of how I plan my week. So I'm hoping today's video will do that, and that's my goal as well. So again, it's just how to be a better planner when it comes to, and I feel like myself, I'm learning a lot in the aspects of meal planning, just preparing for events that come up. And so I'm hoping that sharing with you will empower you to maybe use some of these tips as well, or create something in that you feel it's going to be able to gravitate you on your journey. So, but let's begin. So it's like I said, I'm using the Hobonichi and a little book that's becoming a little thicker. And I do like to use the journaling sometimes and put pictures in it. But if something like that, just be mindful when you're making a planner. Is if you want it thin, maybe not put so much pictures like I do. I love that creative aspect. But let's go ahead and head over into the monthly, and I'm going to be looking at May's. And some of you know, when I filmed it originally, I was in April, so I've been kind of playing around with kind of the setup and how I, wanted to use it and take advantage. So I've been really kind of just honing in on what is it I actually want to accomplish? What are the goals? And as you see here, I've listed, hope it's not blurry too much for you. Sorry, I'm still an amateur when it comes to doing my own uploaded videos. But anything with goals, I think that it's crucial because we always want to know where we're headed, correct? And when we do that, it's great that we set goals, but how do we be intentional about making sure that we do what we say we're going to do, right? So what I did was I've been reading a little bit more into maybe the wellness concept of the wheel, and trying to kind of get a balance on areas I don't want to leave out of my life, because it's really not about, especially on a weight loss journey, it's not all about the food and the exercise really. It's really about other aspects that may give you joy, bring you peace, and also development in your life. So with that in mind, I went ahead and picked out a few of the topics that I do want to, go ahead and try to accomplish in those areas. Would it be in health, self-care, hobbies and crafts, personal development, well-being, and then how obviously things I can control, just reminders for myself as well. Now, with that being said, when it comes to these particular topics, I've noticed that some of these already I'm doing, so it's not going to be difficult. Like the health, I'm already on Weight Watchers, so that's a system in itself with tracking and the app that's very helpful. And it's gauging me, it tells me what I need to do based on my weight. And also, when it comes to pretty much helpful reminders and encouragement, so that's a great app. And also attending the weekly meetings as well. When it comes to self-care, I wanted to put something down that it's going to, bring me not just, like I said earlier, just about the eating part and exercising, but something that's going to bring about my creativity and really, like I said, joy. So I put down journaling, that I really want to make sure that I continue to do that. And then for the next subject there, I have hobby and crafts. I really started getting into calligraphy, and I totally enjoy it. And I think that with practice, I'm going to get better at doing that. So I put that down for hobbies and crafts. Now, again, that could be for whatever things that a person loves to do on the side, outdoors, indoors, things like that. And then when it has for the subject of personal development, I wanted to put down something in terms of, I wanted to learn the concept I was telling you earlier about the wellness wheel. So I'm reading a book on that subject by Robin Gobin, and I'll share the book in a little bit with you. And then for the well-being, I think when we think of well-being, we think of the concept of also what's going to bring us satisfaction. It could be in our home, but I love the fact that it talks a little bit about decluttering. And I think definitely we all know that we could always donate either give away or toss things in our homes that, over the years accumulates. So I'm right now putting down, I'm decluttering my office and boxes, and I just want to have the freedom to know that I can move around freely. I can not stress and worry about just junk, things like that. And as I said earlier, things I can control, and making sure that area that I have to remind myself as well that I can't control everything, but there is things I can't control. So by putting the things I can control, I put down here, also reading another book by Esther Smith about changing unwanted thoughts. So there's that as well. And that kind of hits a little bit on the personal development, but I know that I can do that. That's in my control to do that. So, but anyway, so with sharing that, I hope that you could see there that when it comes to goals, it's just like I said, not just about the aspect of eating and what are we eating and things like that. But if you want to look into more about the self-care, because that's what it's really all about, a great book that I'm reading now is The Self-Care Prescription. And like I said, it's by Robin Gobin. And it's just really some good, powerful ways to manage stress, reduce anxiety, and increase well-being. And I think I found her through one of the social media on Instagram. Someone was discussing, because one of the concepts we all hear about self-care and everywhere we hear about the internet, and people think, but one of the things that kind of really surprised me, not too much, but surprised me, was the fact that she had mentioned in her book that, simply put, self-care means taking care of yourself, but that means more than treating yourself to an occasional luxury. I think about when we think about, well, let's go get a manicure, pedicure, or get my hair done, or nails, things like that. But it involves spending dedicated time getting to know who you are and what you need, and then committing to giving yourself what you need to be happy, healthy, and fully present for your life. So that's just a little quick it I kind of wanted to read to you. But yeah, I think this is a good read. I think one of the things we have to be reminded is, again, making ourselves at the top of that list, because how could we care for everyone else, correct? So anyway, I just wanted to share that about that author. But so going back to my monthly, so those are the things I feel that are vital and important for me. Now, for you, you just have to think in terms of your goals might be different than mine, but I think in terms of just finding balance in those key areas, because I've thought, if I don't put down that I'm going to journal or do my crafts, I really feel that I'm going to be at a loss. I feel like I'm missing something, and you want that joy. You want things that are going to bring you joy. And you want to know that on this journey, it's not going to always be easy. There's going to be challenges, but still you have those things that kind of, like your extra safety net that help you along that journey. So as I say, as I'm planning out my month, usually I'll plan out the month maybe 2 days or a day before the new month begins. And I'll start plotting down things that are coming up in the new month. So probably birthdays, anniversaries, special occasions, doctor's appointments. When are you going to go to the grocery store, or actually when you're going to plan your menu and shopping list, because that's very key. But also the days that you go to your meetings at the studio. And then also one thing I totally, like I said, I learned my lesson about is when things happen that are maybe out of your control, especially when they put a notice that they're going to be turning the water off for 12 hours. And I think definitely you're not going to be doing a lot of cooking, or if it actually would be an inconvenience during that time. So planning those times around that, especially when it's going to be like a little bit out of your control, but yet you could do something about it, and think of other substitutions in that. So again, that's kind of how I gauge it, by putting down when I'm going to do those things, when birthdays, when special events occurred. So that way, when I get to my weeklies, I'm a better prepared, so I can plan out my menus and things like that. So let's go ahead and I'll show you with my page for the weeklies. Now it looks a little scary here because this one was, I kind of condensed it trying to work it. As I said earlier, I was still figuring out how I wanted to use it. Now this was last week, and if you look a little closer, and I'll try to get that in, is one of the things I really wanted to hone in on was when I told you all those goals I had in the month. Well, I kind of went ahead and forward those goals over to this side, and I wanted to go ahead and put down, and they were actually in bullet points. I didn't sit and write as much as I did in the monthly, but I said, okay, My goal is make sure I use that Weight Watchers app for tracking daily, make sure I'm journaling, make sure I'm doing my calligraphy, and make sure I'm reading those books I wanted to read, and also declutter, especially going through the old boxes, and then things I can control. Now, I feel like with the tracker, that has to happen every day. But journaling, the calligraphy, the reading, that's something that I could really kind of be flexible about. So don't make yourself feel that, oh my God, if I put it on Monday, I better do it. If you do it, fine. If you don't, just go ahead and then don't check it off, because my intention is when I put it down here, it might not happen because maybe something comes up. If it does not allow me that day to do it, I'll put it down for the next day and then check it off if I do it. That's great about thing about check boxes, because if you don't do it, you just move it over to the next day when you can do it. But don't forget that you still need to do it, because you don't want to not, do it at all. So that's one of the things I wanted to share. And one of the things too at the top with the Hobonichi, I like the fact that, like I said earlier about the flexibility, is I put up here gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. If you want to put a word that's going to be something you identify every day, you could go ahead and do that. If you want to leave it blank or put washi tape, you could do that. And then what I've been using is a lot of my Tombow color pens here to do that, because I like the pastels. They're not too harsh. And what I recommend is put the colors down after you have a pencil, and you already know where you want to gauge where you're going to put and plot down things that you're going to do on a daily basis. So this is Monday, Tuesday, and then it goes so forth. And then that way you could see it and then write it, because I tried to use a pen first and then go back, and it's kind of smeared a little, but that's lessons learned. And then things I can control is at the bottom. And then here I put my meals. And that was for Monday. And for Tuesday, I put my tracking. And then Wednesday was my reaction towards others, my reactions towards challenges, and then my time for me, words I say to myself, and choices I make when I'm stressed. Now, you don't have to do every single day, write something in. You could put that one thing that you want to practice when it comes to control, and then utilize it the whole week. So that's just an option as well. But as you can see here, I plotted down my grocery shopping when I did that. When I went to my meetings on Wednesday, make sure I put that in there. Because this is crucial for me to know, as I indicated for the monthly, that's a big goal. But now to break it down to the actual mini goals. And so that's what I did here. And also, if you want to put here and change it up any way you want, that's fine. I'm just, like I said, sharing what I'm doing here. This is for the current week here. And like I said, I was more or less playing around how I was changing up a little bit about, but pretty much all the goals that I have here about journaling, calligraphy, reading is me remaining the same, because I do want to have consistency and not keep changing my goals so frequently. Now, when it comes to the goals, when you hit the milestone, then you obviously want to change that. So, but yeah, like I said, if you have any questions, you could comment, let me know. I know this is kind of a lot to see on one page. And I think one of the crucial things is for me, I put up here at the top those keywords or a word that you want to keep yourself meditating on. Things I control, again, I went and put different things. And then notes, you could always put something for notes at the bottom, something like Mother's Day is coming up, and maybe you want to shop, or as a poem or something you want to do, so things like that. So again, this whole weekly is all about you kind of planning your day. Don't feel that you have to do okay, and very detailed if you don't want. It's just something that you can check off, because something about a pen to paper is that satisfaction, though, that you just did it. And if you don't, you're not perfect, and you just, like I said, continue on the next day. So again, that was the weekly on that. And then one thing I wanted to share too is when it comes to as I said earlier, when I showed you the video in the beginning of how these pages are set up, is the actual dailies and how these look for the journaling process. So for me, I've been sharing some of my wish lists of things that I want to see maybe in the future, if Weight Watchers could provide on their app for when it comes to self-care. Because I noticed, we do see where we can list what we eat in a day, how much water we drink, sometimes even tracking for those blood sugar when it comes to steps and things. but also looking at more in the aspect of the tracking of self-care, about personal development, well-being, hobbies and crafts and things like that. So I'm going to see if I could shoot them an email and see if that's something that they could look at in the future, as they are always upgrading their when it comes to the app itself. So again, so I'm hoping that was helpful for you, just to see kind of like what's my mindset, like I said, when it comes to the actual sitting down and putting things on paper. Now, one of the things I wanted to share with you, and it was kind of ironic, I talk about decluttering, and my husband went up to the attic and he found a box, and in that box was a bunch of my old journals. So let me share, hope you don't mind, I'll share that real quick with you. So there's times when, even when you have old notes you take or something of old books, that sometimes maybe it was something you weren't proud of, or maybe you thought, I don't think I want to see those right now, because you weren't at a good place, especially when it came to your journey where you were. Like I said, I feel like this time around for me, I'm able to focus more, and made a promise to myself about sticking to 90 days on Weight Watchers. But in general, when I saw these booklets, I said, oh my God, I remember making these. And this is, I think, when it was still freestyle, if I'm not mistaken, but or believe and achieve. And just look how motivating these pages, I think, when at the time, like anybody who starts a new system, you're happy and excited, you can't wait. But like anything, like a New Year's resolution starts winding down, you're like, okay, maybe I can't do this. But I am so glad that he found these and he didn't just toss them, because I really was reading some of my notes here, and I think I've grown. I've grown a little in that area of doubt and just accountability. And she, I love this quote here. She took a deep breath and let it go. But so I think that's great when you are a person that loves to journal, because when you can go back and see things, when what your thoughts were, and maybe even sometimes those things that you were stuck on, and now you look and you go, I know better now. So I feel like, it was just a perfect timing that he found these. But what I love as well as Pinterest was one of the concepts, a lot of it, I was using some of their setups when people would share what they're doing, especially because you could go down a rabbit hole with Pinterest. But there was a person that was sharing about their master grocery list, meal planning. I mean, again, I'm just not one person that you have to go run with the idea. There's so many ideas out there. But I'm hoping that if my idea kind of, leads you down to a path of finding something that's more simple for you, or you could change it up to where you said, oh, I didn't think about that, but I could you do that. But one of the things I love too is the effect about mindset. It says here 50,000. It says an average number of thoughts the typical adult has in a day. How many of yours are positive? If we were perfect, I would say, yeah, we're not perfect, and we're going to continue to have those thoughts. But as long as you have a anchor, a gauge that's going to reel you back in to let you remember your why, of why you're doing this journey, right? But also here's something about how to be a better meal planner. And so I'm going to go back and use this, especially when I sit down and want to go ahead and start planning my meals. But I want to share with you in a bit about, if you're somebody who does not want to do all the self-care goals and do everything as I shared earlier. I'll show you something, a little bit of another page setup. But if you look here, I'm thinking, look at this meal plan: inventory, regular ingredients, recipes, nightly theme, prepare, cook once, eat twice. And also, again, who wouldn't want to have a refrigerator or cupboard that was this perfectly organized, right? But it's doable and it can happen. It's just, again, how much time and effort we want to prioritize in our life to do it. And we're worth it. So let's not forget about that. 25 frugal pantry samples. And then got egg. If you don't have an egg, look at these substitutes you can use. Making half a recipe. So I have to say, man, that's when I was really a Pinterest geek 101, going through and finding things about baking and substitutions and things like that. 4 great rules of pasta, especially that as well. How to roast, good timing, how about vegetables, how to roast, 5 types of onions. So again, how to store things. I mean, I think one of the things that, again, growing up, I wasn't a person always, my mom always had me in the kitchen cooking. My other sisters enjoyed doing that. So I, again, didn't have a set of tools in life right away to enjoy it. But now that I'm getting older and getting wiser, I'm doing that. So it's never too late. But let me share you real quick. If some of you, the concept of not planning your week out was something you want to do in that, you could do also have another idea if that's something that might maybe shed some light into saying, oh, maybe I could, do that instead. So let me see here. I had a bookmark, I thought. Sorry about that. I just had it bookmarked and then it ran for me. All right, here we go. Oop. Sorry about that. So this is about the meal planning, as I said earlier. If you do not want to use the page a setup that I showed you earlier, this is maybe something more comparable for you, would be just using your weeklies just for even setting up menus, setting up your shopping list. You could do that as well. So as you can see here, I set it up where I have a meat-free Monday, Taco Tuesday, a meatloaf day, leftover day, dining out, Italian, and a free day. Now, this is always going to be conducive of whatever events are going on in your life, because if you have certain events, birthday celebrations, you're going to probably know ahead of time you're not going to cook that day. But to the left is a shopping list where you could put down things that you know you're going to need. And again, I love that thing, a concept about Hobonichi, because you could set this up anyway. If you're not someone who eats maybe in midday, just AM and PM, and you have snacks in between, you could change this whole concept up as well. And that down below, you could have some space to put notes, recipes, or desserts. I said here, check out Move It Meg for grocery hauls on Instagram. She seemed like she was a real go-getter. And also another person to check out, Diana's Delicious Recipes, because she had great bowls on her website. So I want to check her out. And also just some notes here about menu, shopping list, and prep and freeze next week. So getting yourself ready for the next following week. And then way down below is the best and favorite meal out of the whole week, because maybe I might want to continue to make that down the road. So, but anyway, so this is just another idea if you're somebody that does not want to do the overall wellness concept, but then want to look at meal planning. And then when it comes time to go to the grocery store, just take a snapshot picture, take it with you, and then that way you could have this as your, like I said, planner book, because then going forward, if you want to go back to meals that you really enjoy, you could list it on the index here, because Hobonichi has an index here, as I shared that in my first video. And in that month, you could put down is, oh, maybe we love that meatloaf, so I want to put it on the day you planned or you had it. And then that way, when you could refer back to what are we going to have for dinner the next couple of days, or for lunch, you could go back and see the things that you really enjoyed, and that really stuck to your points. So, but anyway, so I hope that was helpful. And again, not overwhelming, but take with you what you feel that's going to be beneficial in your journey as well. So again, this is Tess Inspired, and I just want to let you know that if you're ever feeling doubtful or overwhelmed in life, just remember, just keep going, and I believe in you. All right, have a good week. Bye-bye.